Oh, the humanity. How do you like your F1? Ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, not like this surely, not this level of rancour and salaciousness, particularly not as far as the regulatory body that we call the FIA, as there is breaking news. FIA executive Robin Reid resigns over a standards breakdown. Again, the context for this circumstance, this aspect as far as the regulatory body of the billion-dollar entity and sporting endeavour, there is the one that F's is as follows. Mohammed bin Sulayem was appointed in the first instance to broaden the scope of the FIA, to do what F1 had hoped that the regulatory body would be able to do all the while, institute for the rules and regs in a way that's consistent across all related parties in the first instance. In the second instance, DEI settings, transparency, robustness, you know what I mean? Bring F1 kicking and screaming into the modern day world. 2025 settings. Mohammed bin Sulayem promised that he would fulfill upon that, but he's done nothing if not the opposite. This is the antithesis of all of the aforementioned. Transparency, what are we talking about? Feels like only 24 months ago when Mohammed bin Sulayem allegedly was trying to get Fernando Alonso reinstated into third at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. How about we talk about prioritising conflicts of interest in Susie Wolff, investigating them without any foundation or evidence? Susie Wolff said, you know what, chap, I will see you that and raise you this. How about we leverage some criminal proceedings in French courts? Chap, those apparently are still ongoing. And then you've got more legal circumstances as far as FIA executives. David Reid, he potentially on the back of the quorum meeting or lack thereof, the meeting that the World Motorsport Council were meant to have a couple of weeks ago, being banned from attending it. Dave Richards says, what are you talking about? Sign this NDA. Why am I going to sign this impromptu NDA for? You're having a laugh, chap. And what you're not going to do, Mohammed bin Sulayem, a meeting that is no longer quorate, you're not going to push through any changes, material ones of consequence, through this meeting because you can't. There needs to be a requisite number of members of the World Motorsport Council to do that, sir. I don't want to hear about any rallycross things, nor commercial activities. Again, it was early 2000s when you agreed with the EU Commission that the FIA would slow its roll. Its remit would be regulatory only, non-commercial. Now you're looking to change the maths. You're looking to do a massive U-turn, paradigm shift settings. What are we doing here, chat? And then, of course, Dave Richards said, all right, then, you know what, I will see that. And let's have a talk about legal proceedings. That was rumoured to be in the offing. Nothing yet heard concrete. And then we get this. Please see, for the avoidance of doubt, your Exhibit A. Here's what the legend, and again, all F1 journos are created equally, but some are created more equal than others. This is Andrew Benson, chat of BBC, F1 correspondent. So therefore you can take this to the bank. He writes that Robin Reid, Deputy President for Sport at the FIA, has resigned over what he describes as, and here's where it gets techie than techie things, a fundamental breakdown in governance standards within the sport's global governing body. What are we doing here, chat? This is chaos. That's exactly what the FIA are there to do, chat. And then we say that they've got a fundamental breakdown in governance. Again, what he's referring to here is the fact that Mohammed bin Sulayem sacked 2 of the 4 members of the audit committee. The audit committee are there to set fair all things as far as the FIA and the way in which its members, its employees conduct themselves. What are we doing here? If Robin Reid, an executive of the FIA, is resigning, saying, you know what, I can't be a part of this shenanigans, then Houston, Mohammed bin Sulayem, we have ourselves a problem. On the eve of the Mclaren Grand Prix, where he's meant to be there, this is a coming home party, right? He's meant to be going there back to the Middle East to celebrate all the good work he's done. And Robin Reid resigns on the eve of that. This doesn't look good. The Scot was a key member, Benson reports, of the FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem's leadership team when the Emirati was selected in 2021, but the pair have since fallen out amid a series of controversies surrounding the FIA president. Do tell. Please expound, Mr. Benson. Reid said in a statement that he was experiencing growing alarm over critical decisions being made without due process or proper consultation. How, Sway? What are we doing here? This makes no sense. Genuinely, this is nonsense. How can we be talking about the regulatory body, a member of its regulatory body? How can we be characterising what the FIA are doing in these terms? Growing alarm over critical decisions. What are we doing, chat? I don't know. This is bad. This couldn't be worse for Mohammed bin Sulayem in his tenure as FIA president, but I digress. When I took on this role, he says, it was to serve the FIA's members, not to serve power over humanity. Totalitarianism, dictatorship, authoritarianism, any. Over time, continues Reid, I've witnessed a steady erosion of the principles we promised to uphold. These are strong terms, eh? He's not messing about here. And I think he needed to resign to make these statements, right? Decisions are being made behind closed doors, bypassing the very structures and people that FIA exists to present. Let's go! Let him have it. Reid's resignation follows changes to the FIA statutes at the last FIA General Assembly that opponents have described as worrisome concentration of power and a reduction in accountability. Here's what we're talking about here. He's gotten rid of the audit committee so he can make his own decisions. Everybody that tries to investigate him and hold him to account has either been sacked or since resigned. There's been a deluge of FIA people leave because, again, this dude only likes yes men. He's not seeking constructive challenge, and that's what Robin Reid, it sounds like, is alluding to. Reid's move also comes after Motorsport UK chairman Dave Reid wrote an open letter to the organisation's members accusing the FIA of a shift in moral compass. The FIA has been approached for comment, but as of yet, the BBC, I don't think, has received one. The controversies that have embroiled Mohammed bin Sulayem, here we go, have included his views on women. I mean, do you want, like, could somebody have a longer rap sheet, chat? Let's read them out. His views on women, his approach to F1, the dismissal of a number of senior figures amid questions about the finances of the president's office and other concerns. There we're talking about his private jet, trying to expense it to the FIA. Extortionate expense. This is not reasonable, chat. His views on women. Remember, he said that I don't like women that think that they're more intelligent than men. What do we do? Like, this is nonsense. Way to bring the sport into disrepute. It's just too chaotic. There are too many things at this point. Too many missteps, too many misgivings for this dude to continue in his tenure as FIA president. Lest we forget when his mates at sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East were sniffing around the commercial entity that is the commercial rights holder that is F1. He said then, well, I think the asset value is too high. What are we doing? This is the president of the FIA there to procure a service. F1 pays him upwards of $50 million a year, his organisation, to provide a service, not to advise on commercial matters. Indeed, it should be the opposite. Chat. F1 drivers' behaviour. You remember the GPDA wrote to the FIA, just said, listen, all we ask is that you treat us as adults, human beings. If indeed you're going to fine us hundreds of thousands, then let us know where these fines are going. Whistleblower allegations of interference in Grand Prix. We've talked about that already. Alonso, Saudi Arabia, trying to get him promoted. And he's a Aramco-sponsored vehicle, promoted back to third, which the FIA has since dismissed. Okay, the FIA is also being sued by Susie Wolff. There we go, the director of the F1 Academy for young female drivers and the wife of Mercedes F1 boss Toto Wolff. It's too much chaos. Ben Sulayem's first term ends, continues Benson of the BBC this year, and he's up for re-election in December. So far, he's running unopposed, but there is said to be at least one potential opponent readying a campaign. Reid said that his resignation was not about personalities, it is about principles. Motorsport deserves leadership that is accountable, transparent, and member driven. I can no longer in good faith, listen to these strong terms. Let me start again with this because this is the crux where we get techier than techie things. I can no longer in good faith remain part of a system that does not reflect those transparent, accountable and member-driven values. Reid continues, the final breach of trust and due process that led to his resignation was a recent decision to take in-house the promotion of the world. Look at this. What did we talk about, chat? We've been talking about this for a while. Commercial things as far as rallycross, that's not the remit of the FIA. They agreed with the EU Council, the EU Commission even back in 2000 that the FIA were going to segment their duties, focus on the regulatory stuff. And in order to do that, therefore, that would mean that they wouldn't tip their nose where it didn't belong. Commercial things, that's not their remit. And again, that's what the Motorsport Council meeting was about clearly. Reid said that this action could carry legal action under European Union competition law. They'd agreed not to do this early 2000. The decision is counter to a previous commitment by the FIA World Motorsport Council that all world championships would have external promoters be profitable and have a strategic business plan. It also contravenes an agreement made by the FIA and F1 in 2001 regarding the F1 World Championship, in which the FIA agreed it would divest itself of commercial interests in its events to avoid conflict of interest. How very dare you then, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, open your mouth and talk about Susie Wolf and conflicts of interest in the very same sentence. There was once a man called Hippocrates, and hypocrisy is a real thing. It's bigger, apparently, alive and well, now more than ever, as at the 10th for the 4th, 2025. Giovanni, you're too kind. Too many leaders now believe they can be duplicitous, surreptitious and unprofessional and still get away without consequences. Trump has given everyone permission to FAFO, but without the FO. Listen, Giovanni, you're getting too techie there. I'd love to dive deeper into the socio-economic and political circumstance globally, but I've promised never to keep it F1 each and every single time. Mohammed Ben Sulayem is in big trouble here now that his key people, key personnel are deserting that chap in real time at the altar of transparency, accountability and principles. How do you like yourselves some F1?